The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Robert Frost was a very popular American poet. He is famous for his realistic descriptions of life in the countryside. This poem is about making choices in our lives, which is like choosing one path and not taking another. In this poem, the speaker talks about reaching a place in the woods. Woods mean forest, where two paths go in two different directions and he needs to decide which one to take. Stanza 1. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Here wood means forest. Forest with decomposing leaves. And sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Let's look at the explanation of this stanza. The poet says that in a jungle there were two roads. As you could see in the last slide, two roads are there. Both roads went in different directions, that V-shaped. As the poet has used the term yellow wood, it seems that the leaves had turned lifeless and yellow, depicting which season? Autumn season. In autumn season, we can see that the leaves, they have turned into yellow, and when they fall down and anybody steps on those leaves, then they are crushed. The poet feels sorry that he alone cannot travel on both the roads. Now the poet is feeling sorry that he alone cannot travel on both the roads. He has to make a choice. He has to choose any one road on which he could travel. So he feels sorry that he alone cannot travel on both the roads. And be one traveller, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. Now here the poet is finding difficulty in making a choice. So he being a traveller, he is a traveller. He stood there for a long time. He is standing at a point where in front of him he can see two roads going in two different directions. Now he is thinking which way he should continue traveling. He is thinking to make a choice. He wants to make a right decision that on which road he should continue traveling. Now he stood in a dilemma. Dilemma means a state of mind. When you have to decide, when you are a little bit confused that what to do and what not to do. So here at this point of time, the poet is finding himself in a dilemma. Before making a choice, he wanted to make sure that it was suitable for him. Whenever you have to make any decision in your life, you have to think over it. You need to ponder over it again and again that what choice you are going to make, whether it is suitable for you or not. So when he is thinking all this, what he noticed that one of the roads bent in the trees. What he found, there were trees and shrubs. So when he was looking at far distant place on that road, he found that finally that road disappeared and there were trees and shrubs. Stanza 2. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Now here fair meaning of fair is as good as the other one. Claim means option. Grassy means unused. Wanted wear means that it had not been used by anyone. Nobody had travelled on that road. Now let's look at the explanation. The poet says that after looking at one path for a long time to check whether it is the right path or not, he decides to take the other road. He is standing at a point. In front of him, two roads are going. Now what he is thinking, he is looking at one path. And when he kept on looking on that path for a long time to check whether it is the right path or not, he decides to take other road. Leaving that road, he decides to take other road. Why? Because he felt that both the paths were equally good. Then further, the poet says that maybe this road is better because it has fresh grass grown over it and was not used much. Now the poet is thinking that he could see that on one road fresh grass is grown. So if fresh grass is grown, that means people have not traveled on that road. Because if anybody will travel on that road, he will walk over that grass and that grass will be crushed. But as the grass is fresh, as the grass is green, so he is thinking that maybe this road is better and he may walk on that road. But when he started traveling on it, he realized that this road was also travelled and both of the paths had been worn out the same way. So when he started traveling on that road, he realized that the both paths are similar. The both paths are almost used the same. There is hardly any difference. Stanza 3. And both that morning equally lay. In leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Equally lay means similar. Trodden means walked over. Let's look at the explanation. The poet says that both the paths were covered with leaves that morning. The point of time when he was standing looking at the two paths, what he found that both the paths, they were covered with leaves and they looked similar. In leaves no step had trodden black. What he says the leaves had not turned black. That means they were still green in color, which means that no one has stepped on them. Perhaps, maybe, the poet was the first one to travel on that road that morning. For example, if fresh grass is growing on the road and you reach at a place during the morning time, you find that the fresh grass is there. So what you will think? You will think that means today, this morning, nobody has traveled from this path. And you are the first one to travel on this path. Same way, the poet is also thinking. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way. Now, he decided to take one path for that day. What he thought? He thought that today, I'll take one path and keep the other path for another day. That today I'll be going through this path and tomorrow I will try the another path. Although he knew that one way leads on to another way. But he was well aware that if he will start moving on one path, that path will lead to many other paths. For example, if you travel on any lane, if you travel on any road, then when you will keep on moving and moving, you will find other paths as well. And then it would become difficult for you to come back and try the another path. So the poet is well aware about this fact as well. He was even wondering if he will get the chance to come back and take the other road. So he was wondering that whether it would be possible for him or not to come back and choose the other road as well. Stanza 4. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood and I took the one less travelled by. And that has made all the difference. Now here the word sigh means taking deep breath. Sigh is deep breath. Ages and ages means after many years. Hence means, in this poem, hence means in the future. Let's understand the explanation. In this stanza, the poet feels that somewhere in the future. See, you have to make the choice in the present time and you will face the result in the future. So the poet is saying, so the poet feels that somewhere in the future, he will look back and then decide whether the choice he made in the past was the correct one or not. For example, if in the present time you made any decision, you took any decision, fine. And the result you will come to know after maybe 1 year, 2 years or 5 years. After 5 years, then you will again think that the decision which you took 5 years back was correct or not. The present choice will be responsible for our future, which will make all the difference. Now the poet is saying that the choice which you are making in the present time, that is going to frame your future. That is going to be responsible for your future and that is going to make all the difference in your life. He further says, the choice may bring him something right or wrong. Whatever choice he is making at the present time, that may bring him something right or it may be wrong. You never know because you are not aware of the result. Present time when you are taking the decision, you are thinking for the best. But the time is going to decide the decision which you take was best or not. He will be telling about his choice with a sigh. So in the future, when he will be looking back in the past, then he will be telling about his choice with a sigh. Sigh is releasing a deep breath, expressing happiness, relief, sadness, joy, etc. So these are the 4 stanzas of the poem, The Road Not Taken. The road not taken means 2 paths are there, bifurcation of the road is there, diversion of the road is there, and you have to choose any one road. If you are going to choose one road, that means you are going to leave the another path. You cannot move on both the paths simultaneously. Hence goes the caption, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Now look at the literary devices. I have mentioned here 5 literary devices which are used in this poem. The very first one is symbolism, anaphora, alliteration, metaphor, and repetition. Symbolism means 2 roads representing the journey of life. 2 roads are there. They are representing what? Our journey of life. We are living a life, we are leading a life, and in our life we have to make decisions. At many point of time we have to make decisions. So here 2 roads representing the journey of life and the decisions we make on that journey. Second is anaphora. You can see the word and has been repeated 2nd, 3rd and 4th lines. The beginning is with the word and. This is anaphora. Alliteration is when a consonant sound is repeating. As you can see in wanted where. Ver sound, first for, fur sound, and thought, that, the, there. This the sound is repeating. TH sound is repeating. What is metaphor? Metaphor is actually a comparison done. Here the road in the poem is the metaphor of life. Road is there, you keep on traveling, you keep on moving on the road. Similarly, life is there, you keep on living your life. Fork, have you seen a fork? That Y-shaped fork. As you can see in this picture, it looks like a fork. So this fork on the road represents the choices we make in our lives. Here 2 roads are there in the form of fork. Can you see these 2 roads? These 2 roads means 2 options. Similarly, in our life also we have options and we have to opt any one. That is the crucial time when you have to make the decision. Last is repetition. As you can see the words ages and ages in the last paragraph, 2nd line. This is repetition. Finally, if we look at the rhyming scheme, it's A, B, A, B. If we look at this stanza 3, let's try to understand how to find out the rhyming scheme. We will look at the last word of every line. Here it is lay. Let's give it a alphabet A. Black. Black is not rhyming with A. We will give it B. Day is rhyming with lay. A. Way is rhyming with lay and day. A. And back is rhyming with black. B. Now you can see A, B, A, B. This rhyming scheme has been used throughout the poem. So this was about the poem, the explanation, the various literary devices used, and the rhyming scheme. Thank you.